chord are we on? I can't really hear anything in my in-ear monitors. Oh, they're supposed to go in your ears? I thought they were a little quiet. Oh, that's much better. Now I can hear. All right. It helps a lot to be able to hear your in-ear monitors by putting them in your ears. Today, I am reviewing the ClearTune Monitor CE320 triple driver in-ear monitor system. It even says extra bass, so you know it's got to be good. If you're an engineer or a musician, it's critical to have a clear picture of what it sounds like so you can make the very best tone judgments possible. And if you care about that, bringing your best mix and your best playing to worship Jesus on Sunday at church, go ahead and hit subscribe and ding the little bell to get notified every time I post a new video, because I'm here to help you make every worship mix an enjoyable one. Now, full disclosure, CTM did send these to me to review, but all these opinions are mine and they didn't pay me or tell me what to say, other than getting their name right. Straight out of the box, I'm noticing that the cable is braided. This is important for me because oftentimes I got a guitar strap going over my cable or my bass is pinching it. I move my head the wrong way and it pulls on the sheathing of the cable, then it can rip, and that's no good because then you've got exposed wires underneath. Nobody likes that. They also come with 6 different pairs of tips. Some are rubber and some are foam, and they're in various sizes. And this is really helpful for me because although I'm 6'4", I have really small ear canals. So the smallest size works great for me, and I like the foam tips rather than the rubber ones. It's just a texture thing. They seal really great, so I get the bass response that I need. And pro tip, if your in-ear monitors don't have any low end, you probably don't have a good seal from your tips. Out of the box, we've got small, medium, and large of the foam tips. And then we've got a little baggie with the rubber tips. The carrying case is really nice. Got a zipper pouch, and it comes with the 1/8 to 1/4 inch adapter, and this case isn't super big or bulky. The smaller I can have it, the more easily it's gonna fit in my bag and not get bulky. So it's the little things, but I think they picked a good size. So let's get to the important stuff. How do they sound? So we know that it's critical to get a clear picture of what it sounds like when we're listening, but there's a bunch of problems that get created when we stick a speaker right up next to our eardrum. And I'm happy to say CTM really delivered on these triple driver in-ears. Let me explain. What happens when your in-ear monitors are out of balance is that you compensate and over-adjust for the problems that it creates. So if you're hearing yourself too bright, you'll make your own tone or your own mix too dull on the other end. One of the ways that your brain tells how far away something is how much or how little high frequencies it has. So when you stick something right up in your ear and it's got a ton of high frequencies, it sounds unnatural. And so for these in-ear monitors, they've rolled off the top end in a really pleasing way so that things aren't too bright. Now you might think that not bright enough means not enough detail, but they've got plenty of detail on the top end. They just didn't hype it up so that things don't get harsh or really bright. Now on the bottom end, it says extra bass. So when I read that, I thought, oh, maybe they got a bass boost going to these in-ear monitors to make it feel bigger, but they actually didn't do that. Instead, extra bass means extra low bass. So I compared these to a bunch of different in-ear monitors and headphones, and I could tell that these go deeper than even my favorite headphones, the Audio-Technica ATH M50Xs. One of the things that in-ears lack is the tactile response, but I can actually hear that the frequency response goes a little bit deeper with these CE320 triple driver in-ears. Now, one thing that makes me really happy is really even full low end. Now, you've heard me say, and you'll probably hear me say again, that it's all about the low end. When you get that right, everything else falls into place. And the quote is not when you get it giant, everything else falls into place, although that could be true. But when you get it right, everything else falls into place. And so being able to accurately judge the level of the low end is really important. If you're mixing broadcast audio in a small room, that can create a lot of anomalies in the low frequencies. Just play a 50 Hertz or 100 Hertz tone and move around in your room. You will be surprised at how different the level is from spot to spot. So being able to check the low end in your in-ear monitors or headphones can be really helpful for making sure that all those low frequencies are even. You're not trying to overcompensate for some bump in your room or some dip where everything cancels out. So when you have a clear picture of the level on all the low frequency spectrum, and it's not uneven from your monitoring environment, you can make a mix that's going to sound better in more places and on more low frequency speakers on the other end. in case your friend whips out the subs for Sunday morning's live stream. Now there are some headphones that will scoop out the mid-range to make the highs and the lows feel bigger, but these don't do that at all. Now there is a little bit of a roll-off on the top end that extends into the high mids that keeps it from being harsh, but there's no loss of detail or presence. I think they did a really good job of fine-tuning these to make them feel still in your face and not like scooped and far away, but still be pleasant and not harsh at the same time. Now, if you've ever tried to mix or play with consumer earbuds, you might notice that they don't quite hold up as well, and that's because they're not made to handle all the transients that come through on a live mix with drums. They're made to play back stuff that almost has no dynamic range. So to check this, you've got to listen to punchy kicks and snares and make sure that the transients cut through, and I was really pleased with how well these handled those transients. I was even able to hear the differences with some different EQs and compressors that I'm working on for a future review of PreSonus's Fat Channel plugins. So yeah, they've got all the detail that you need to make great decisions. Now the output is another consideration that you've got to think about when you're getting in-ear monitors. Some hi-fi headphones suck up a lot of power. They're running at like 2 ohms or something ridiculous, so they need a lot of wattage behind them to get them loud enough to use. These in-ears don't suffer from that. They can get plenty loud even with the most modest headphone amp. So I've talked about how they compare to some other headphones that I like, but what about other in-ear monitors? Well, I've got the Mi Audio M6 Pros, and those ones are hyped up in the bottom end, and that's kind of what had me worried when I saw extra bass on the box of these. When you know that the low end is hyped up from your in-ears, you know that you're going to have to mix bass heavy in order for it to feel right in other places. But how much do you have to mix bass heavy? If you don't mix bass heavy enough with in-ear monitors that are already boosted on the low end, your mix is going to sound thin, or your tone that you're sending out to front of house is going to sound thin. The last thing I want to talk about is customer service, because inevitably, if you use these a bunch, something's going to break. I mean, they're small, they're easy to get dropped and stepped on, the cables can get snagged on something and break. I mean, you just can't make these things indestructible. But when I was talking to the folks at ClearTune Monitors, they say that they want their customers to feel like family. So I'm confident that if you have problems, they're going to take care of you and make sure to make it right, even if something breaks, and maybe even if it's your fault. Now they're priced at $249, which is a bit more than the budget brands that you can find on Amazon that come from China and that have no customer service. They sound better than the ones that I have, and you don't have to buy a second pair in case the first one breaks. They're going to take care of you. So is it worth it to spend the extra money? In my book, I think it is. I'm a big fan of buy once, cry once. Buying things that are higher quality and that last, save you headache, and then it just makes your job easier in the first place. Now you can find more information about the ClearTune Monitors CE320 triple driver in-ear monitors down in the description below. And if you need help learning how to mix your in-ear monitors, I've got a video down here and a video down here. Don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe and ding the little bell, and remember, it's all about the low end, avoid the sound tech solo, and nobody leaves church humming the kick drum. We'll see you back here next time.